Hi everyone, today on the show, we're gonna have a road trip break. Okay, we're gonna talk about a couple of updates. Mic test, 1, 2, mic. Oh man, that's good. Testing. Hi everyone, welcome. Oh man, why am I in this sweatshirt? It's just so hot. Oh, okay. Get that. We're gonna work on the tree over there. Welcome to Dave's Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, no, I don't say episode. Man, I'm just a little nervous today. I can't figure out why. Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, we're gonna take a little break from the road trip, and we are gonna work on a few trees, including some updates. Yeah, that's good. Welcome everyone into the passive solar green frame, where the 80s continue on this third week in September, and I seem to be up to something a little peculiar. Hey Tom, sit back and have a nice cup of tea for this episode. We're gonna grab a tree in a little bit, maybe two, and we got some updates for you. But the intro had you all thinking a little bit and wondering what we're gonna do here. To be honest, on the road trip, after I came back and started to release some videos, and actually during the road trip, I had gotten a few messages through various methods, and people saying, hey Dave, where can I get me some of that Bonsai Acres merch? And I was like, well, you know, I got some shirts that I was giving away on the road trip to some of my friends, and I've had some, and I've thought about things, and well, lo and behold, I started my own shop, my own merch shop. So if you'd like to get a little Bonsai Acres goods for you, well, go check out the shop. Now it's on my Bonsai Acres, well, not my website yet, but it's on my Dave's Bonsai YouTube, right here with you and me. So grab yourself a mug, maybe a water canister, a hoodie, hey, maybe a t-shirt, and if you want a sticker for your watering can, well, you know where to find it. It is on the YouTube page. So enough said. I just had enough people asking about it that I thought, hey, well, let's provide what people are asking for. And so now let's get to the real part of the show. We need to go grab a tree and do some work. Truth be told, it is a little steamy in the passive solar green frame. So we are going to work out here. The first tree I want to work on, just a short little clipping, is one of my barberries from my dad. So if you remember, go back and look at the playlist on this one. This is kind of the heart. It's kind of the size of my fist almost, and it's like a heart with all kinds of valves. And one of the branches was surviving, and it's starting to thicken up. We got some exposed roots on this side. I got this branch over here and kind of this main leader over here, so it's almost like a twin trunk here. Split down here, and we're going to continue to whittle away at this, but I haven't really touched this all summer long, so I thought I would take a break from editing some of the footage from the Bonsai road trip and do a couple trees for y'all and a couple of updates. I will also say a big thank you to all the wonderful response to the videos from the road trip. It seems that people are enjoying them, and I am so happy at that, so pleased. So we have this kind of curvy trunk this way. You can see it from behind. It kind of curves away from us. We're getting a little bit of dryness here and some fall-like almost color changes, but I just want to get this ready for the season here. This is going to be the last stretch of 80s most likely, and then we're just going to be kind of coasting into fall. This can change its colors. It's not going to put out long growth like this anymore, and so we're going to go ahead and give this a trim. So right off the get-go, you know, we're just going to go ahead and shorten this guy up. This has a weird kinky movement way too far up on that branch for us to keep that anywhere. This one also has this nice kink right there. Nice is a relative term, and I don't want that kink, so I'm going to cut that back. Here's another kink right there, and about, who says branches don't take a 90-degree turn, everybody? Look at that. Phenomenal how these plants are reaching for sun, for whatever the case may be. Most likely sun. Okay, I'm done. Put the scissors down, Dave. Oh, no, we missed a couple. So, again, this is just a very, very quick and dirty little job where we don't have to spend too much focus on this tree. I'll do some more of that again next year. Look at this one. It's not only 90 degrees, it's growing back inwards. These are just long, leggy growths that are not going to serve us any purpose anymore, so I'm just shortening them all up. Remember, when you're working with barberries, they do have thorns on there, and so there's a great big branch coming from way down low. We just don't need all of that crisscrossing in there, and this is crisscrossing. So the front of this tree has always been kind of this. Now we can monkey around with the angle a little bit, and let's get a little closer and see what we might do with this guy. We've got the main cuts on here, so as I take my glasses off and get a closer look, we've got some dead growth here, we've got some dead growth there. This is inside. We don't like that. There we go. As I cut in here, you get that yellow inner wood look, and you know this thing is alive when you're seeing yellow. Now I got a branch down here that spreads out here. It's kind of all three vertical growth. We'd certainly like to have more horizontal than vertical. We don't like branches this way. In most bonsai, we want them going this way. So this one's kind of one of those upward growing branches. And so I think I'm just going to cut that one off. And then we have our branches back here. We'll see what shoots back next year. It's long and skinny. We might have to go up further on the tree in the future, but we're just going to leave that right here. Get back some of the studs, anything of this fuzzy stuff growing down. It's just starting to dry up a little bit. Now up here, we have this part of the branch, which is part of this. So we got 1, 2, 3, kind of a bizarre, really shaped tree, because the main trunk, we don't know where it's going to be. It's probably going to be here. This is the main trunk of this tree. So this either should be cut off and put the energy there, or we would have, again, what almost looks like a triple trunk, but we don't want the soil to come up here. I don't think that's going to work, so we're going to probably monkey with this. So I'm going to cut this big branch right off here to get it away from all of this stuff on the inside, because all of these branches are just competing. Now I'm going to be pretty aggressive with the cuts on this one, because I really do think this branch will go away someday, but maybe not, just not today. So I'm going to get all these a little bit shorter and see what I've got left. And then you see this branch on here. This looks like it's a little toasty. We're going to cut that one off. So now we've created some separation in here. We've got this beautiful flowing branch off to the left. Now, if this becomes a primary branch, this low down on the tree, that's possible. But then this, if this is the main trunk, what is this middle one right here? So we have to decide kind of what we're going to do. Now, if I cut off both of these and we have the trunk going up real thick down here and comes up here, we have the starting of what could be a decent shohin tree. The problem with this being the main branch is look at the design this way. It's like my hand going this way, not this way. We really can't see, but we can see from this side a nice widespread canopy. So things will have to grow and shoot out in different directions for me to kind of pick that as a future front. But if I do this, move this aside here for you, now you can see the development of that tree if that's the base. But then this one kind of shoots at us and it's just kind of bizarre. Shorten this in the back, shorten this in the back, shorten this one and this one, so you can kind of see what we would have if we maybe get rid of this. So it's become one of my favorite trees, but upon closer inspection here now as I trim this late summer pre-fall, yeah, what am I going to do with these three? So I said this would be relatively quick and easy, but it doesn't mean it's easy decisions. Just that it's a small tree that we don't have a whole lot of options on right now, but I just love what it's doing. It's been one of my favorite trees to look at on the bench. And again, if I keep cutting all these shorter, they're going to be shorter anyway. There's no real subdivision right here. We'll get some of that next year, and we'll get more and more growth. So we have to remember this is going to be gone right here. And so if I have a tree like this, yeah, it kind of goes up and over this way, and then there's our tree back there. So if that's the case, I think we just have to be bold. And there's a close-up of that yellow right there, the yellow of a barberry. We're going to smooth this guy out here. And so now we have this trunk that goes up this way and it splits into two, but I don't like that either. So we're just going to get rid of that. We're going to get our concave cutter. We just made some drastic choices on our little barberry. So this will set this up for, we hope, great success next year in having one main trunk line, and then we'll start working on branches after this trunk is where I want it to be. So we have some fun texture, we have some exposed roots, and from this side right here, we've got enough movement where that could be possibly the front of the tree. The other opportunity is right there as well. You can see the roots on this side a little bit better. We can lean it, have a leaning tree. We could even go that way possibly, but so we have some options for the future. So either way, we have some branches that are left, and how low do we go? This one's going inside. We're gonna cut that little old piece of growth off. We're gonna leave that one alone for right now. We have 3 right here, kind of in the same area. Just cutting these shorter here. I think really we should leave it alone. We're just gonna leave all these branches. The only one I consider taking off is this one right now, because here's a bar branch. So I just finished the last workshop of the year with Minnesota Bonsai Society, and right there, right behind my hand there, is the 1, 2, 3. 3 branches, and this is going inside towards this branch. Let's cut this off right there. And now these 2 are going in the same direction, so that's a bit of a bummer, but this can hopefully become a branch that'll flow out here and maybe go down a little bit more. And if this bifurcates down lower here, we'll have a much different looking branch than 2 sticky branches going straight out. So I am gonna put the scissors down on this guy, and that's it. That's all I really wanna do on this guy. So we're gonna keep this thing pumped with a lot of fertilizer this fall, and it's gonna probably change a little bit of colors. We've got plenty of green on here left. There are some leaves in here that dried off, but I'm not too concerned about that. That has happened with my barberries quite often. So there is a barberry right there. And again, we're gonna get rid of all this gnarliness right here, and we're just gonna have that tree right there, something like that for the future. Down there, up to there, the barberry. Let's go find another tree. Now, a few weeks back, I took one of my narrow leaf ficuses and I gave it some trim because it was so bushy after a big old chop. Well, this one's bushy as well. And so we're gonna cut this one more time this year and make sure we're gonna pick the branches we wanna keep. And then this winter in the plant room, this should just shoot out some slow but hopefully steady growth, and then we'll let this thing explode next year again. So let's get close on the narrow leaf ficus and see what we got to work with. So what I love about the tree is the nice wide nabari. We've got a nice width to there. The trunk is pretty wide. It's starting to spread out at the bottom. We've got all this thick growth here from this chop right up here. All the energy went down there. We still have these branches growing up tall to give it some thick and some growth, and that might all be sacrificial. So again, I'm gonna take off my glasses and get in close on this guy and see what we're gonna do. So I don't think I like this front as much as the other because we've got a bit of a bulge here. So I'll have to determine that when I repot it again, probably next year. But this right here is a pretty decent front right here, which has this spread down here of the nabari, and it comes up this way and then shoots off this way. And that also hides the scar. So I mean, I think this is what I was kind of going for with this tree at the last clipping of it. And so what are we gonna do? Well, we got all these branches regardless kind of shooting out at us. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna keep? Well, we've got branches right out in front of us. So this low on the tree, I don't want the branches to be right out in front of us. So here we go. We'll get rid of a couple of these. We'll get some natural healed bumps on the tree right here. We've got a really nice branch here, but it's kind of on the tail end of the inside of this curve, but this one's even worse. So we're gonna get rid of this one. So here's this curve right in here. I got rid of that inside curve. We got this outside branch here, but look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 branches going up that side, and which one should be our primary branch? Well, this one is looking awfully nice. It's thickening up. I'm not even gonna cut that one. I'm gonna let it grow, so I'm gonna cut the one above it off right now. So now I have 1, 2, and 3. Now this one is in the back actually, and there's another branch tied to it right here. So this is actually a double. So if I cut this one off here, now this one shoots out the back. So now we have one out here, a little bit higher, and one back out there. But we like our every other pattern, so let's just get rid of this right here. We've got right, and now this is kind of left, and that's kind of right again. And these are kind of bar branchy, so I might not be able to keep that, but there's one down here, right there. So let's promote the small one, right there. Let's keep that one, and try not to bump that one. So now, in our very typical, very common, every other pattern on a bonsai tree, I've got the tree leaning from left coming over to the right, and I've got here my primary branch here, but look, there's a couple back here as well. And I got left, and then I've got right, and then the tree comes over here. If we can get a branch right there to bud, and then it goes to the right over here. Now there are some branches back over here, like I mentioned, they're much lower. I don't want that one. I don't think I want that one as well. We're going to cut that off. So now we're going to let this one grow all winter long. I am not going to touch this. So it grows, even if it's slow growth in the wintertime, I hope it grows, continues to thicken the debari, and this will be the first primary branch of the tree. And then we have this guy over here and this guy over here. Now there's also one in the back that split off into two. And so we're going to go ahead and cut off the lower one of the two, and we're going to keep that one for now again to help thicken the trunk. And so that's back here. Now these are all three in a similar spot. So that could create some bulging there and some potential reverse taper. So to prevent that in the future, I am going to cut this a little tighter to the trunk right there. That'll be a little bit less of a sore right there. We're going to make these wounds a little deeper cut so they don't make as big of a bulge to make this side of the tree look a little awkward there. There we go. Now let's show you that back side. See, we've got this here, and this here. Well, let's get rid of this one right there as well, and let's get rid of that one right there. So now I do have these 4 branches, 1, 2, 3, and 1 out the back. It'd be nice if it was a little bit higher, and there is one right there, and it's split into 2. See that? Split into 2. Let's take this big one off, and now it's up higher, so let's get rid of this lower one. So now we have right, left, right, and then back there. We talk about that a lot in bonsai because when I show 2-dimensional drawings, we've got this trunk up here, and where's all the branches coming off the front? What's going off the back? I always draw these diagrams that have right, left, but we have to have a 3-dimensional tree. So this one's going back. I love it. Let's go ahead and thin it out just once right there. But here's my right, left, back. And then maybe left, and then right, and then back if I could. But now we have the top of the tree, which where all the energy is going to be housed right now, because I got rid of all this lower stuff. So here's a couple of branches inside the crack here trying to grow. That's going to waste energy and bulge things up. And that is kind of an odd split right there. So if I do want my tree to go up this way and up this way, maybe I want to keep this and get rid of this big nasty bulge right there. What I'll do for sure is cut back the top. There we go. Now we have less energy up here. We can push some energy down here for the last several weeks outside, and then we've got this side right here. But let's do the exact same thing right there. Now we got rid of that guy. So this is much more calm, much more in balance with the tree. We're gonna let this one really grow fast. This one's got to catch up for second, and this one right now is almost as thick as this. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna thin that out so it won't overtake this guy right here too much. Now, my biggest concern is these are still a little bit too much of a bar branch. Yeah, they are basically bar. So we may even take away a branch down the road. We'll see. We'll see how this thing matures over the next year. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Cutting off some of these nubs a little bit shorter. And we have a tree that we can kind of maybe plant this way next time too. And keep in mind, everybody, this is a bar branch that looks pretty ugly like that, like it's a scarecrow's arms, a scarecrow out in the crops. But if I tilt this like this, and we have this swoop here, this is higher, this is lower. Not quite as devastating. And I've seen a lot of trees, even on my most recent trip east of the Mississippi, there are bar branches on a lot of trees. We don't have to always take them all out, and we still might be able to have some really good trees. We debate taking this one off, but we have the scissors down. I'm not going to pick it back up. Tree number 2 is the willow leaf ficus cleanup.
Now my third tree is going to be the first of several updates. The last tree that I'll maybe work on, but it's an update. So I got 3 acacia saplings, 1-year-old saplings, acacia tree, from a Minnesota Bonsai Society member. He said, anybody want these free? And I got 3 of them, and one of them didn't survive. I had 3 on here, but I have given this a couple of little prunes since I started this. We've had a couple of nice shootouts of growth. It's been pretty nice. So we've got 2 left. Now this one right here takes a big old split up there, is a big old Y. We're gonna go ahead and cut that back and cut this back right here to some ramification there. I just want this to just keep thickening up, and then we'll do some more cutting later. This one right here is growing next to this right here. We have a very weird Y split right there. Right there. I don't like the Y anymore. It's been growing. I'm just gonna cut that whole branch off right there. So now we have 1 trunk right there. And I can go ahead, come in here cut that off just a little bit closer. And now there's just a little bit of movement to that trunk, just ever so slightly. And it's growing up real nice and tall. We don't want it this tall. We can go ahead and cut it back right here. That's it. Talk about short and sweet. I'm putting my scissors down, and I mean it this time. We're going to let this go. And we're going to let this acacia grow up and become thicker trees. It's going to take a long time. It's already in a bonsai pot, but a very big pot to these small trees. So we'll see how many roots are in there next year, and maybe we'll do a little repot and see what we got going on. So this was tree number 3 to work on, and tree number 1 as an update. So this is the acacia. I had 3, we're down to 2. And here you have it. We just cut them back down a little bit, and so they're going to continue to grow. They'll be in the greenhouse for a couple more weeks for sure, probably through October if I can keep it warm enough in there, which I'm sure I will, and then we'll get it inside the plant room. Let's get another update tree. I'm excited to show you this next one. Update number 2, everybody, is Genie's Hibiscus. Now, sadly, the air layer didn't work. I ended up chopping it here this summer. And we're letting the original branch that was down low become our new tree. So we'll whittle away at this chopping a little bit. I do have a photograph, because guess what's happened twice already to this tree since I put it in this pot? That's right, I've gotten a couple of blooms, and here's the latest bloom that just was cut off a couple of days ago. Now back live, look at that right there. 1, 2, 3, and possibly 4, 5. 3 buds on this beautiful healthy branch right there. So there's the tree. That's either going to be the front, or this is going to be the front. We've got some chop wounds down here, and there's a little bit of reverse taper here. But what I want to show you that's exciting about this chop is I'll go ahead and remove this. And I'm going to remove this, and here we go. Look what's happening there, everybody. We've got some leaves growing right there. Now it's pretty much a barb branch. It's kind of a bummer right there. But we'll let it grow to thicken up this trunk, because there is that little bit of feeling of inverse taper there. But look down there as well, another back bud. So it's just really good. It's always reassuring to see back buds on trees, so you know they can do it. This is too low. I'm gonna cut that one off and save the energy of this guy to go up here and get up there. So we have a drastic kind of attempt to make some movement on a tree for a future curve and slant style. And yes, this is a little bit of an inverse taper here, which is a bummer. We could gnaw at this a little bit more and make it less noticeable. We could also turn this possibly a little bit more this way for a front in the future. But we'll see what happens here with roots and if we can get some flare going down here. But back buds right there, we'll leave those alone. I did trim a couple of things off of here just the other day when I took off the buds. So this whole branch right here can probably come off. Here's the new branch right here. We've got all this growth down here, so this can come off. I'm just gonna let it sit in its glory until we bring it in the plant room, and then I'll probably cut this thing in the plant room so it's nice and short and tidy, and we'll let it grow again all winter long in the plant room, and that'll be that. The hibiscus from Genie, another update for you. The next update, everybody, is one of my Japanese elms or Zova Forest on the slabs that I got from my brother in upstate New York. Now, I loved this design, and I still like it. We were on a hike in upstate New York, and we've been on hikes where we were right here. This was our trail. We walked through here in the trail, and there were trees on the edges and trees on the sides, and this was starting to take shape. I was pretty excited about it. But it's an update that has a sad ending because I believe it's toast. But never give up on Zelkovas. I've had Zelkovas die repeatedly. I thought they were dead. Tom, this is for you specifically. I thought they were dead and they weren't even dead. So don't throw away your bonsai. Put them in the bonsai dead pile, the graveyard. Go put a nice little ceremonial burn in the fire pit. Don't do it right away. Check first and give it some more time. You never know. I've put plants like this in my garage in the past, and then 2 weeks later there's growth on it when it wasn't watered and it was in the garage for 2 weeks with not much sun. So the forest, I really love the planting of this forest. I thought it was fairly well done. A little symmetrical back here with these two double clumps here. Real close, real close. So that was a little bit maybe could be improved on. Maybe move one a little bit further away. But this double over here and all these over here. Got the rock still up here, the little cave down in here. And you know what? All these trees, even up here, are really firm in here. They really have clung on to these rocks. But lo and behold, I think they might all be perished. So as I cut, Yeah, I think we are in trouble. So I've had some people thank me when I've showed them my failures as well as my successes. So what's the story with this guy? Well, this guy was over by my two ponds, my ponds in my backyard, and one of the ponds is up higher and the other pond is down lower, and there's the river that goes down there, which they don't have the river running this year, but I have trees that line all along that side, and that was out of bench space. So I put this on the ground right next to the bench alongside the riverway. Well, as summer came and went, I had so many weeds around that area that I hadn't plucked all summer long that the weeds were covering up my piece of art. And so I didn't see it and forgot about it, and it didn't get watered for a few occurrences. So when I noticed that, it was a little too late. So, but again, not all is for sure lost unless we know for sure it is toast through and through. And as I cut these, let's get a little closer and see what we got. So there's an ever slight subtle hint of some potential green, but I think I'm just wishing and a hoping. So I'm just gonna cut all these branches off. We've got the trunks left over, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if anything comes from this. I'm not gonna throw it away quite yet, because all of these have a little hint of green on there. And it's the end of summer. It wasn't gonna push out a ton more growth, although these grow like weeds. You never know what's gonna happen with this guy, and I've already found that out before with other Japanese elms or the Zelkova. So I know if it's alive, it'll push out new growth. And if it's dead, it's dead, and we will have to replant. I'm feeling a few raindrops here. I might have to pull the plug here pretty quickly. Yeah. So it happens in bonsai. We lose trees, and when you have as many trees as I do, I was joking all this past weekend to all the new members of Minnesota Bonsai Society taking the workshop. I said, you know what, I've got 150 trees in my backyard. And they all go, wow, and oh my gosh. And it's like, yeah, wow, oh my gosh. But guess what? Oops, sorry, I bumped the camera there. They're saying, oh wow, oh my gosh. And I'm going like, yeah, but I'm losing trees because I'm not paying attention closely to all my 150 trees. And so this forest of about 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, there you go. This forest of 10 was possibly or is possibly one of my losses. So yeah, that looks like it's not completely brown dry on these cuts, but I am not that hopeful. But I'm gonna keep watering it for the rest of spring. Well, no, let's go back. I'm gonna water it for the rest of fall, and I think we'll be in good shape. And if not, we're gonna redo this one, because I really liked this structure of these rocks, and we're gonna try that again with some new trees, hopefully. So there's an update on a sad note. The Zelkova Forest on slabs from my brother's place in upstate New York. I almost forgot to share with you. I have, of course, the hibiscus that bloomed and it's growing and it seems fine, but I also took the cuttings from the failed air layer, and people were very curious and said, Dave, let us know if those cuttings are actually gonna work. And so here is the small branch cuttings right here, and there's still life on both of these. And as a matter of fact, one of these, maybe this one, because there's another one right there. That is a bud right there. This will be a flower before winter hits, before fall even hits perhaps, although fall is this Sunday. But this one flowered already once. It is alive and it's doing okay as a cutting. And then here is the biggest one, this big old stump of a tree here. We put that in the pumice as well, 100% pumice, and it's still kicking. It looks a little weak, but it's still kicking with some newer leaves and some little young tips that wanna. There's even a back bud way over here, this little tiny thing. So this is still alive. I'll be curious after next season if there's roots in here. I won't look at these roots all over the winter in my plant room, and then next spring, if it stays alive and we have a possible tree, I have a possible tree. Now it's pretty bruised up and looks kind of funky in here with its spread, but you know, it's a free tree. We're gonna keep experimenting. So there is a quick update on the update of Genie's hibiscus tree, the cuttings from there. Well, that's going to wrap it up, everyone, for today. We got a couple of trees worked on, some small, quick ones, and a couple of updates for you. More editing for the road trip east of the Mississippi, and again, a quick reminder, if anybody does want any merch, Yeah, it's now on the YouTube channels. Check it out. Yeah, have some merch if you'd like it. And if not, I will not be offended. Tom, enjoy some tea. Until we meet again, whether it's work in the yard, I've got some stuff to show you, or the next edition of our road trip bonsai episode. Take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you on the next one.